The Travelers Championship was supposed to be Scottie Scheffler's redemption. One putt, less than 3 feet. That's all that separated the world number one from his first win in 5 months and a $3.6 million payday. Then the ball lipped out. The trophy slipped away, and the chaos began. Not just from the playoff loss, but from the climate protesters storming the 18th green, the slow play war with Viktor Hovland, and a stunning post-round confession that left the golf world absolutely speechless. Scheffler had just thrown away a tournament, but what he said afterward changed everything. The date was June 26, 2026, TPC River Highlands in Cromwell, Connecticut. Scottie Scheffler walked off the 18th green with a 10 under 60 on his scorecard, one shot off his career-low 59, a round that included 11 birdies and a solitary bogey. The crowd was roaring, the broadcast was buzzing, the golf world was witnessing the world number one at his absolute best. For one magical Friday afternoon, Scottie Scheffler was back. He had entered the Travelers Championship with just one victory in 2026, a win that came all the way back in January at the American Express. The season that had started with so much promise had dissolved into a growing list of near misses. 3 consecutive solo runner-up finishes at the Masters, the RBC Heritage, and the Cadillac Championship. The man who had once dominated the sport was now the nearly man, and the frustration was beginning to show. But Friday was different. The putter that had betrayed him all season was suddenly cooperating. The iron play that had made him the best ball striker in the world was dialed. The confidence that had been missing for months was flooding back. Scheffler was in his element. He was in control. He was doing exactly what the world number one was supposed to do. The leaderboard told the story. Scheffler was one shot behind Eric Cole, who had opened with a 63, but the momentum was clearly shifting. The Sunday duel that everyone had been waiting for was taking shape. Scheffler versus the field. Scheffler versus history. Scheffler versus his own demons. But golf, as always, had other plans. The final round of the Travelers Championship was supposed to be a duel. Instead, it became a war of attrition. Viktor Hovland had started the day with a one-shot lead over Scheffler. The Norwegian had been searching for his first win in 15 months, a victory that had eluded him since the 2025 Valspar Championship. His game had been volatile, his confidence fragile. Just a week earlier, he had missed the cut at the US Open. But Sunday was different. Hovland was in the mix, and he was playing slowly. The tension became visible on the 6th green. Hovland, who had already made a bogey on the first hole and another on the 6th, was taking an excruciatingly long time over his putts. His pace of play had become a problem, and Scheffler had had enough. Rather than standing by the side of the green as Hovland holed his putt, Scheffler walked to the next tee. It was a small gesture, but the message was unmistakable. Dame Laura Davies, watching on Sky Sports, called it exactly what it was. "I think Scottie's getting a little bit irritated with him because you rarely see a top pro go to the next tee," she said. "It's kind of a message, come on, buddy, let's speed up." Rich Beem, the former PGA champion, loved it. "I love Scheffler saying, 'You're going to play at my pace. I'm not slowing down to yours.'" The walk was a statement, a reminder that even the world's best players are not immune to the frustration of slow play, and it set the stage for a finish that would leave the golf world stunned. The final round of the Travelers Championship was a grind for both players. Neither produced their best golf. Scheffler, who had flirted with a 59 on Friday, was not at his sharpest. Hovland, who had shot a career-low 61 on Friday, was struggling to find his rhythm. Then, at the 10th hole, the weather intervened. An 83-minute storm delay forced both players to stop, regroup, and reset. For Hovland, the delay was a gift. He had been 2 shots behind Scheffler and looking like a bystander. The break allowed him to settle down, to get right, to find the confidence that had been missing. Quote, "I just kind of didn't let it bother me as much," Hovland would later say. When play resumed, the course had been transformed. Heavy rains had soaked the fairways and greens, creating a practically new golf course. The conditions were unpredictable, the grass was wet, and the players were forced to adapt on the fly. Hovland made back-to-back birdies to tie things up. The momentum had shifted. The Norwegian was back in the fight. But the slow play tension had not disappeared. Hovland's deliberate pace continued to test Scheffler's patience. Dame Laura Davies, watching on Sky Sports, had already called it. "I think Scottie's getting a little bit irritated with him because you rarely see a top pro go to the next tee." And then, chaos erupted. Just as the leaders were lining up their putts on the final hole of regulation, 6 climate activists from Extinction Rebellion sprinted onto the 18th green, wearing shirts that read, "No golf on a dead planet." They sprayed smoke and powder into the air, delaying the finish for about 5 minutes. Scottie Scheffler, standing over his putt, was caught in the middle of the chaos. He later admitted he was rattled by the protest. The world number one, who had been battling for a victory that had eluded him all season, suddenly found himself under pressure that had nothing to do with golf. Security scrambled to remove the protesters. The powder settled, the green was cleared, but the disruption had broken the concentration of both players. When play resumed, Scheffler made an 8-foot par putt on the 18th hole and pumped his fist with more emotion than he showed all day. He had forced a playoff. But darkness had already fallen. The playoff would have to wait until Monday. Monday morning at TPC River Highlands. The playoff lasted 1 hole. It was enough. Both players found the fairway on the par 4 18th. Scheffler hit his approach to 4 feet as some 3,000 fans surrounding the green erupted in cheers. Hovland responded, hitting his approach to 7 feet. The Norwegian's downhill birdie putt with a sharp left-to-right break barely caught the inside right of the cup. He had made his putt. The pressure was now on Scheffler. He played his putt outside the left edge with a little too much impact. The ball rolled over the left edge. It caught the left lip and spun out. The tournament was over. "I thought I hit a good putt," Scheffler would later say. "It just didn't go in." Viktor Hovland had won his first title in 15 months. He had beaten the world number one. He had silenced every critic who said he couldn't close. He had done it in front of a sea of Norwegian fans who had packed the Connecticut course, roaring him on with every shot. But the real story, the one that would leave the golf world speechless, was what Scottie Scheffler said afterward. He didn't make excuses. He didn't blame the protesters. He didn't blame the slow play. He praised Viktor Hovland. "He has so much talent," Scheffler said. "He works really hard. Those are the types of guys you like to see have success." The classy response shut down every critic who had been waiting for a meltdown, but it also revealed something deeper. Scheffler had just thrown away a tournament, his 4th runner-up finish of the season, and instead of anger, he offered grace. The Travelers' Championship was in chaos, but Scottie Scheffler had just proven something far more important than any victory. He had proven that even in defeat, he is still the class of the PGA Tour. Scottie Scheffler's stunning statement left the Travelers' Championship in chaos, and the golf world is absolutely stunned. The world number one had just lost a playoff on a 4-foot putt that lipped out, his 4th runner-up finish of the season. 3 straight solo runner-ups, the sting of another close call. But when he walked into the media center, he didn't complain about the slow play. He didn't blame the climate protesters who had stormed the 18th green. He didn't make excuses. He praised Viktor Hovland. "He has so much talent," Scheffler said. "He works really hard. Those are the types of guys you like to see have success." The Travelers' Championship was in chaos. The 83-minute storm delay, the slow play war with Hovland, the climate protesters who sprayed powder on the 18th green, the Monday morning playoff that ended with a 4-foot putt that wouldn't drop. It was the kind of week that would have broken lesser players. But Scottie Scheffler didn't break. He didn't lash out. He didn't blame anyone. He simply congratulated the man who had beaten him. The golf world is stunned, not because Scheffler lost, because of how he handled it. The man who had thrown away a $3.6 million payday and a chance to end his winless drought had just proven that even in defeat, he is still the class of the PGA Tour. The Travelers' Championship will be remembered for Hovland's comeback, but it will also be remembered for Scheffler's grace, and that perhaps is the most powerful statement of all. Do you think Scottie Scheffler's grace in defeat makes him a better champion, or should he have shown more emotion after the loss? Drop your take in the comments below. And if you want the real story behind every controversy, every comeback, and every moment of class in golf, hit that subscribe button, because Scottie Scheffler's story is far from over.